أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقطع به الحوائج وتنال به الرغائب وحسن الخواتم ويستسقى الغمام بوجهه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس بعدد كل معلوم لك اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك يا حي يا قيوم اللهم إنا نسألك عفو والعافية في الدين والدنيا والآخرة توفنا مسلما والحقنا بالصالحين اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وشاكرا وتوبة نصوحا ربي يسر ولا تعسر ربي تمم بالخير ربي زدني علما وفهما والحقنا بالصالحين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Last time in a short talk that we go through the munabbihat of Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani Qaddasallahu Sirruhu al-Aziz, we stopped at a saying that was quoted from Sufyan al-Thawri radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, one of the mujtahid imams. Just to recall briefly, it said, قال السفيان الثوري رضي الله عنه كل معصية عن شهوة فإنه يرجى غفرانها وكل معصية عن الكبر فإنه لا يرجى غفرانها لأن معصية إبليس كان أصلها من الكبر وزلة آدم كان أصلها من الشهوة. He said every act of ma'asiyah, every act of disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala committed due to shahwa, a person's passion, desire, due to his lust, weakness of his flesh, its forgiveness is hoped for. Every act of ma'asiyah, every act of sin, disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala committed due to kibr, arrogance, its forgiveness is not hoped for. Because the root of shaitan alayhi la'na's disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was arrogance, whereas the root of Adam alayhi salam zalla, his lapse or mishap, was due to his passion or his shahwa in the general sense of the word. We stopped here and we were explaining this issue, that as Bani Adam, we are designed in such manner that we are forgetful and we fall sometimes into temptation, realizing what we're doing, but sometimes we sin, which is impossible not to sin. It is said to us that had you not sinned at all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have destroyed all of you and brought into this world a new batch of human beings who would sin. Why? If we never sin, how in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His attributes of Al-Afu, Al-Ghafur, Ghafar al-Dhunub, Sattar al-Uyub, how is it going to be manifested? Because this universe, this creation is nothing but the manifestation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beautiful attributes, perfect attributes. How is He going to be Rahim and Rahman if there is nobody to sin and ask for forgiveness? This is human nature. But when we sin and when we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with tawbatan nasuha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives us. As Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah says, yes, Adam alayhi salam in a forgetful state, he ate from the tree and he has fallen from heaven, came to earth, part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan, but he asked and begged Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, said, please Allah forgive me, due to my own weakness of shahwa, I've eaten from that tree in a forgetful state, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Nasitu. Yes, he has forgotten. Please forgive me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave him. Correct? And they met in Arafat, Jabal Rahmah. Hawa alayhi salam, our mother, and Adam alayhi salam, and the humanity started. Correct? But he says, if the sin is committed due to arrogance, there is no hope for this one. Can't you see, he says, don't you see the case of Shaitan alayhi la'na, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of his arrogance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he insisted on it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kicked him out. Correct? Yes. Before we complete our story from last time that everybody was sending me text messages, Sheikh, what happened to the stories? What happened to the story? We will inshallah talk a little bit more inshallah. In Islam we have najasa. What is najasa? Filth, correct? If you have najasa on your clothing, that is zahir, apparent, you must wash it, you must clean it, you can't pray, you can't do all the salat. Yes? There is najasa ghalidha, najasa khafifa, yes? Heavy, more, a serious filth, and lesser filth. Our fiqh books talk about this very, mashallah, thoroughly. But there is, najasa is a filth, it's a filth that we must get rid of. There is also a type of najasa that is not visible. Najasatul ma'nawiyya, or hidden najasa. What does that mean? The sins committed in the outer form, they're called the outer sins. Simple. If you see a Muslim drinking alcohol, na'udhu billah, haram, what is he doing? That's najis. That sin is a najis, yes, correct. And he's doing something that is abhorrent. That is something that we do not approve of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it haram. But because of his weakness, he sins. You see a Muslim gambling, or you see a Muslim doing some of the haram. It's haram. He's not fasting, for example. Yes, we say it's haram. Yeah, these are najasa that is outwardly, in terms of our sins. But there are sins that are inwardly, that nobody will know. The guy is dressed up like a sheikh, but his inner is filled with these najasa. Yes, the hidden najasa. What kind of najasa are we talking about? The head after kufr and shirk is kibr. Kibr. If this person sitting in front of me, he looks so handsome, mashallah, he's got the biggest taqiyya and tasbih in his hand. He's got the right perfume and he's wearing the sunnah gear. But maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates him. Of course, he loves him because he's in the masjid. The reason is because he has a sin that he has in his heart. One of the diseases of the heart, we call it. Kibr. If he's what we call arrogant, how do we know that he's arrogant? We've got no idea. Only he knows that he's arrogant, and he shows it in his behavior. One day, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if a person has a mustard seed of arrogance, pride in his heart, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make Jahannam haram for him. He will never enter Jannah. Kibr. But one of the companions says, Ya Rasulullah, everybody would want to have their shoes nicely polished and beautiful shoes, and his clothing to be, nice and good looking, his horse maybe. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, that's not kibr, that's not pride. That is actually encouraged. Inna Allah jamilun wa yuhibbul jamal. Allah is beautiful and Allah loves beauty. However, he said, kibr is looking down upon people. You see yourself above them. You see yourself better than them. First. Secondly, when the truth is told to you, you reject the truth. Rejecting of the truth, when the truth is spoken to you, and belittling people, looking down upon people, this is the definition of kibr. What did Shaitan alayhi la'nah do? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked all the malaika to make sajda, he was there. What did he do? He did not. And what did he say as his excuse when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what prevented you from making sajda to Adam? You did not obey me. He says, Ana khayrun minhu. I am better than him. I am better than him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he missed the point completely, rejected the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kicked him out. So, the inner diseases is far more heinous, far more dangerous than anything else. One of the companions, radiallahu anhu, he says, the first bid'ah to occur, to appear amongst the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the discovery of sabun. Muslims invented sabun. The soap. You go anywhere in the world, the name is sabun. They made it from some aloe vera plant or some plant they made it. So people, Muslims, became so obsessed with their thawb, their clothing, to be clean. They wash it constantly. They couldn't wash during the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam because they didn't have any soap. They wash it with normal water, but not with the soap. He says this is the first bid'ah that came into existence amongst the Ummah Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They said, why? Isn't that good that we wash? He says, yes, you are so obsessed with your outer cleanliness. And yet during the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, before we left home, we will go through our heart, every single compartment in our heart, and check if there were any of the other najasa that I mentioned before. Is there any kibr? Is there any bukhul, stinginess? Is there any ghadab? Is there any hasad? Is there any hiqd? Is there any anything and everything to do with the heart? Disease of nafs al-ammara? He says we used to look, and if it's clean, we go to the masjid and sit next to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Nowadays, he says people completely abandoned the cleanliness of the heart, which is the pure reason of Islam in the first place. They concentrate so much on their outer cleanliness that completely neglected. So this is the first bid'ah. Kibr is one of those. Ghadab is one of those. Bukhul is one of those. So many. So Shaitan alayhi la'nah is kicked out from the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of what? His kibr, his arrogance. So I was telling you the story when Musa alayhi salam was going to Mount Sinai, Jabal al-Tur, going up to receive his 10 commandments. Yes, Shaitan was waiting at the foothill, waiting at the bottom, and he saw Shaitan. He says, what are you doing here? He says, I know where you're going. I know what you're going to do. You're going to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I know. Yes. Can you do me a favor? What was the favor he asked for? Is it possible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me if I make tawbah? If I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me, yes, forgive me, then I will stop everything that I'm doing and I'm going to become a good person, good being, jinn. Musa alayhi salam says, you really serious? Yes, I am serious. You mean you will be free, the humanity will be free from your fitna? He says, yes, I promise. So that's the best news since the invention of bread. Yeah, okay. That was not part of the conversation. So he is going up to the mountain to receive Tawrat, the Ten Commandments, and talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we know in the Quran. At the end of the conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, says, Ya Rabbil Alameen, you already know, you already saw, you already know everything. The Mal'oon is downstairs. He is asking whether it is possible for you to forgive him if he were to make tawbah and come back to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, of course, I will definitely accept him. I will definitely forgive him. I will definitely not only forgive him, I will reinstate him back to his original position where he was praying amongst the malaika. Back to that high status. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, absolutely, positively, definitely, I will accept him. With one condition. One condition. What's the condition? Ya Rabbil Alameen. My original command stands. He needs to make sajda to Adam alayhi salam. But Adam alayhi salam is dead and gone. He says his grave is in such and such coordinates. Yeah, GPS coordinates. He has to go there and onto, just before his grave, he needs to make sajda. And immediately I put him back to normal, where he was original state. Reinstated. Musa alayhi salam is so happy. Probably he's more happy than receiving Tawrat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's so happy because he's going to kill this problem from the root. All of our, what they call the sins, the demand. Can you imagine humanity without shaitan? So he comes down. He's, I got it. He says, come on. What happened? What happened? Tell me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive you. He's ready to forgive you. He's going to even not only forgive you, he's going to reinstate you back into your original position, rank. He says, yeah, but. He says, but there is one little condition. What is that condition? He says, you need to go and make sajda to Adam alayhi salam's grave. This is the coordinates. He said, what? He said, what? I didn't make sajda to him when he was alive. Do you think that I'm going to make sajda to him when he's dead? He says, no way. I'll stay as shaitan. This is the nature of kibr. A mutakabbir person, when you say to him that you're doing ghibah, he says, no, I'm not doing ghibah. But you're doing haram, brother, we should not do it. I know better than you, what do you think you are? The attitude. Kibr. And yet he looks like a sheikh. But his inner, he's got problems. So Sufyan al-Thawri is telling us that yes, due to the weakness of your flesh, every now and then you might commit sins, harams. And when you make proper tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept you and delete everything for you. But if you come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with kibr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at you. This is a serious issue. The next saying, وعن بعض الزهاد من أذنب ذنبا وهو يضحك يدخله النار وهو يبكي الله أكبر ومن أطاع وهو يبكي فإن الله يدخله الجنة وهو يضحك. One of the zuhad, one of the zahideen said, the one who sins while he's enjoying himself, laughing, this, come on, ya habibi, ya halawa. He is laughing. He knows that he's sinning. He's doing the haram. The one who sins while laughing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make him enter into Jahannam while he's crying. And the one who obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while crying out of fear of Allah, he's concerned, he's worried constantly in this dunya. Because you cannot suffer two joys together. You cannot enjoy two joys together. You cannot, suffer from two pains together. When you suffer the pain of ita'ah, you make sacrifices because you want to gain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleasure and you're crying, it's difficulty. Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make him enter into Jannah while he has the biggest smiles on his face. Allahumma ja'alna minhum ya Rabbil Alameen. Again, some of the hukama said, وَعَنْ بَعْضِ الْحُكَمَاء. Remember what the hadith was saying in our first day. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala Sayyidina Muhammad. واسمع اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا. I urge you to listen, sit in the majlis of the ulama, and I urge you to listen to the wise words of the hukama, the hakim ones. So one of the hakim ones, one of the wise ones says, لا تحقر الذنوب الصغار فإنها تنشعب منها الذنوب الكبار. Do not belittle minor sins, for verily from them major sins grow. Let me tell the next hadith and we can explain it a bit more. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا صغيرة مع الإصرار ولا كبيرة مع الاستغفار. One of the cheapest tricks of shaitan alayhi la'na is to constantly suggest to you that it's only makruh, it's only a little sin. Allah is ghafur rahim, it's not a major sin, just a sin, little one. Yes? And yet Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, or did saying that before we had, do not belittle, do not look down upon minor sins. Our mashaykh tell us in our books, if a person commits that a minor sin 8 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then the category changes. It goes into higher category. If you commit a little minor crime and you appear before the court, the judge says, this is your first crime, okay, I'm more lenient on you, easy for you, okay, no penalty, go home. The second time the same, the third time the same, the fourth time the same. After the 8th times, what will the judge say? You're playing games with me? It is not the sin, it's not the size of the sin. Uzair alayhi salam has said, later on probably will come, he says, do not look at the size of how small your sin is. Look at towards whom you are sinning. Remember the definition of a sin was deliberate act of defiance. You're defying, disobeying. Who are you disobeying against? Do not belittle sins. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says to us, no saghira, no small sin, as opposed to kabira. Kabira is a major sin. No small sin, minor sin remains minor, little, when accompanied by persistence. If you were to constantly do it, that little sin is no longer little sin. No saghira is no longer saghira. It turns into kabira. Turns into kabira. Becomes a habit, it's even worse. But at the same time, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam shows the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he says, and no kabira, no major sin remains as major as long as it is accompanied by persistent tawbah. Persistent tawbah. If you keep on making tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala washes away your sins. No matter how many times you make tawbah, you keep on making tawbah, keep on making tawbah, keep on making tawbah. Shaykh Mahmud Kurkcu used to say, he says, if a man, human being, falls into an open sewage, there's something happening on the road, there's some excavations, and some open sewage stinks. While you're walking, you made a mistake and fall into it. We came out, you don't see anything except your eyes. Everything is pure filth. So do we say, okay, we strike his name out of the register of humanity? No, he's still a human being. All he has to do is go to hammam, yes, shower, bathroom, make sure everything's clean afterwards. Couple of slabs of sabun, yes, then wash and come back and change your clothing and sit down, back to normal. That's what tawbah does. We have this opportunity as human beings. This is the greatest gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us. But when we do not make tawbah, each sin, as Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, puts a little spiritual dot into our spiritual heart. When dot after dot, not cleansed through tawbah, it completely covers inside. It becomes filth. No longer the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enters into that heart. After a certain time, that heart is sealed. Therefore, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "La saghirata ma'al israr." If you make israr on it, if you persistent on the minor sin, eventually that becomes dangerous. So if it's a small sin, clean it, tawbah. As salat is, from Jummah to Jummah is, Umrah to Umrah is. There are so many opportunities for a Muslim. But if you were to insist on minor sins and belittle your actions, which is the cheapest trick of Shaitan alayhi la'na, then you are in trouble. I think our time is up. We will inshallah continue whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to. And the topic changes, inshallah, it will go through a different topic. Billahi ta'ala al-Fatiha.